This episode is brought to you by Allstate. Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like you know to check the date of the big game first before you accidentally buy tickets on your 20th wedding anniversary and have to spend the next 20 years of your marriage making up for it. Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Savings vary. Terms apply. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Northbrook, Illinois.
Hey, Atlanta. Say hello to Small Business Help from Apple. That's right. We're here to make starting and running your business simpler. From helping you choose the right devices to setting them up hassle-free, we can help you build your business in no time. Speak to a business expert and get the help you need at no cost whatsoever. At Apple, we're open for your small business. Go to apple.com/small business or visit an Apple store to learn more.
When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger for thousands of appetizing ingredients that inspire countless mouth-watering meals. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices. Plus, extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with points. So you can get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. Sometimes the most painful part of getting sick is the getting better part. Waiting on hold for an appointment, sitting in crowded waiting rooms, standing in line at the pharmacy, that's painful. Amazon One Medical and Amazon Pharmacy remove those painful parts of getting better with things like 24/7 virtual visits and prescriptions delivered to your door. Thanks to Amazon Pharmacy and Amazon One Medical, healthcare just got less painful.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon Prime. From streaming to shopping, Prime helps you get more out of your passions. So whether you're a fan of true crime or prefer a nail-biting novel from time to time, with services like Prime Video, Amazon Music, and fast free delivery, Prime makes it easy to get more out of whatever you're into or getting into. Visit Amazon.com/Prime to learn more.
American soccer fans, welcome to episode number 146 of the USA Soccer Cast. We are bringing you everything about the U.S. national teams, the players, the leagues, and everything else that impacts the game of soccer in these United States. I'm Donald Wine. Happy New Year. It's good to be in 2025, and I am so excited for another year of American soccer, not just for our national teams, but also seeing our players play in their various leagues. We are in the middle of the January transfer window. MLS and NWSL are in preseason, and there's just a lot of movement right now. But for the United States men's national team, the annual January camp is upon us, and that always feels like, to me at least, the jumpstart for the calendar year. And that's where we begin as we take a look at what's to come for the USMNT in 2025. January camp this year is in Florida with two matches, one on Saturday against Venezuela. That game will be at Chase Stadium in Fort Lauderdale. Then you also have the second game Wednesday. That will be against Costa Rica at Inter-Inco Stadium in Orlando. It's obviously the first January camp for Mauricio Pochettino as head coach, and it's a chance for guys to make an impression with Poch and the rest of the coaching staff. You have U23 Olympic coach Marko Mitrovic also in camp, and he can evaluate the younger talent as well. So let's first take a look at this January camp roster, because there's some guys that we know, and there may be some guys that those of you out there don't really have any familiarity with. So let's start with the goalkeepers. We have Drake Callender, Matt Freese, Patrick Schulte, and Zach Steffen. Again, a lot of those guys we've seen in camps before. And with Matt Turner out and with the other guys in Europe out, it'll be an interesting battle to see who ends up getting some of these starts and who gets playing time during this camp amongst these guys. We are obviously in the middle of what seems to be a goalkeeper evaluation. And Zach Steffen, Patrick Schulte, Drake Callender all have had starts or at least playing time for the U.S. men's national team in the past. You have the defenders, Max Arston, George Campbell, DeJuan Jones, Shaq Moore, Jalen Neal, Tim Ream, Miles Robinson, John Tolkien, and Walker Zimmerman. Now, a couple of those guys have departed camp. We'll talk about those in a second. But again, you have a couple of guys that are in this mix. Tim Ream, back on the national team. The national team can't shake him, but it's good because he's in this camp to once again provide that experience and also just provide a little bit of encouragement to those defenders. As we figure out how this defense is going to look in 2026 and who some of these backups could be, who some of the starters could be for depth purposes. You have a Tim Ream there who can be that kind of constant, that North Star for the defense as we figure out who is going to be in the mix for 2026. Midfielders, we have Benja Cremaschi, Emeka Eneli, Diego Luna, and Jack McGlynn. Only 4 midfielders, and all of them young guys. Of course, Diego Luna is the one that a lot of people know. Jack McGlynn and Benja Cremaschi have been in camps before. And Emeka Eneli from Lansing, Michigan, near where I grew up, is another guy that factors in. But Diego Luna is that guy who missed out on the Olympics, gets a chance for the national team, and a lot of people think he could be one of the answers for our depth in the midfield. And then you have your forwards. Patrick Agyemang, Caden Clark, Jesus Ferrer, Brian Gutierrez, Matko Miljevic, Indiana Vasilev, and Brian White. Now, with this group, you have a couple of guys that we've seen on the lower level, on the youth national teams, and we've had a couple of guys, obviously, that have kind of dipped back and forth with the national team. Jesus Ferreira is the most experienced of that group, but as we talk about the guys who are no longer in camp, Jesus Ferreira is one of them. Jesus Ferreira and Jalen Neal, they departed camp a couple of days ago for minor injury knocks, and John Tolkien departed for what was considered to be personal reasons. Those personal reasons are he just secured a loan to Holstein Kiel in the Bundesliga, so he heads off to Germany, thus departing camp to make that move possible. With players kind of returning from the winter break, the coaching staff has taken a cautious approach. They're doing training kind of as they ramp guys up. Some guys, especially all these guys, have been in Major League Soccer, with the exception of one guy who we'll talk about in a second. All of them are in their preseason or just about to start their preseason. So they're ramping up some of these training sessions. But at the same time, Pochettino wants to instill some of the things that he wants to work on this year and some of the things he wants this team to do in 2025. And so when we talk about the January camp roster, it's a chance for guys to be evaluated. It's a chance for guys to impress. And of course, we have the 2 matches that we want to win, but also these guys know it's an opportunity to show the coaching staff that when their number is called, they can produce and they can get wins for the United States men's national team. There's one guy on this team who is not in Major League Soccer. He's listed as unattached, and he has an interesting story behind him, and that's Matko Miljevic. He's a young American who was on CF Montreal in 2023. And in late 2023, Major League Soccer canceled his contract, and he was cut from Montreal after he was kicked out of a beer league soccer league for fighting. Now, that's not the full story. The full story is that in this league, of which he was, on a team that was in 8th place, I guess it was one of his friends' teams, he was playing under his team, and he got ejected for fighting, but he also was playing and registered for that team under a fake name. And this was because Major League Soccer has it in their contracts that they can't, players can't play in other leagues while they're playing for a Major League Soccer team. And so he didn't want to find out that he wasn't playing for CF Montreal. They didn't want him to find out. He didn't want them to find out that he was playing in this beer league to try and get a little bit of run. Of course, Major League Soccer found out after he was kicked out of the league, and then his contract was canceled. He then went to Newell's Old Boys in Argentina, and you may have heard of that team in Argentina. It's one of the premier teams in Argentina. It's Lionel Messi's boyhood club, is Mauricio Pochettino's former club. And I guess he was on there on some sort of loan or trial, but was not picked up for a permanent move, and literally crashed out on the field and in the locker room reportedly in his last couple of matches there. So he is unattached. It sounds like he might be signing with Huracan in Argentina, so that might not be for long, but he is in this camp, and he gets a chance to kind of put those off-field uh, controversies behind him and just focus on the soccer. Now, as I mentioned, the U.S. has 2 games in this particular window against Venezuela and Costa Rica. We're going to preview that as well as look at the future schedule for the United States men's national team. But we will do that after this quick break.
Hey everyone, are you looking for the latest gear for your U.S. national teams, Major League Soccer, the NWSL, or any other team in the world of soccer? The USA SoccerCast has affiliate partnerships that are ready to help you out. Head to linktree.com/USA SoccerCast, where we have links to Homage, Fanatics, the MLS Store, and Breaking Team. You can get the jersey, shirt, hat, or accessory you're looking for to support your team, while also saving some money and helping this show in the process. Again, linktree.com/USA SoccerCast. Click on the links and get your gear. And we thank you as always for your support of the show.
We're back on the USA SoccerCast, and we are talking about the U.S. men's national team and their start to 2025 with their annual January camp. They have 2 matches beginning on Saturday, this Saturday, against Venezuela. Again, that game will be in Fort Lauderdale. Venezuela, the number 47 team in the country, and of course, they play a very physical style of soccer. And in an effort to try and compete in CONMEBOL, they have, done wonders. And if you think about the Copa America, and other, World Cup qualifying and other competitions they are a part of, they're no easy out. And despite the fact this is outside of a FIFA window, a Venezuela team is going to be a very interesting test for the U.S. men's national team as they enter 2025 and really try to get off on the right foot. They then move to Orlando on Wednesday to take on Costa Rica. And I don't have to say much about Costa Rica. We've seen Costa Rica quite a bit, and Costa Rica matches are always tough. They always have what seems to be a very deep roster, no matter what time of year it may be. And the United States men's national team are going to need to figure out how to play Concacaf, for lack of a better word, because that is going to be a part of this calendar year as they prepare for 2 tournaments in CONCACAF. That would be the Nations League in March and then the Gold Cup in June and July. And they have qualified for both. We'll focus on the Nations League in March. Obviously, they will take on Panama in the semifinals, and then the final or the 3rd place game, either Mexico or Canada await there. Those games being played at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles. And I look at those games and I look at the Gold Cup and I see an opportunity for the United States to win 2 trophies. And they need to try and do them convincingly and show the world that, hey, we are the best in CONCACAF, and now we are ready to host the world, or co-host the world, I should say, next summer at the 2026 World Cup. But Costa Rica kind of proves to be, and Venezuela in a way, because they kind of have similar styles to that of a Panama or a Costa Rica or a Honduras. The United States is able to try and test themselves and then prepare for these CONCACAF competitions. But those will not be the only times that we see the United States this year. There is a June window before the Gold Cup. From what I'm hearing, there is going to be some friendlies, hopefully against some big teams, perhaps some European teams. I think Africa also may have some teams available. But that'll be interesting because the United States can schedule who they can, right? And with everyone else in World Cup qualifying, fully in World Cup qualifying by that point, they're going to need to figure out how to get teams over here to the United States. And honestly, they may have to travel, despite the fact that the World Cup is here, to find the competition that they seek. They may have to go to that competition, whether that's in Europe or elsewhere. September, October, November, those are going to be friendlies against just about anyone who we can find that's available during those windows. Some teams in Europe, obviously, some teams in Asia that may have already qualified or have that 5th team in their group for World Cup qualifying that have a bye date. It's going to be a kind of a case of figure out which teams are available and go sign a date to play the biggest one and the best one, and to try and get as many really good matches as possible for this team, so that our team can gel, our depth can develop, and we can prepare as a nation for the World Cup. And I'm excited to see which teams Pochettino can schedule for the team to face. Will we see some big-time friendlies? Will we see in England or France or Germany or something of that magnitude? Will they hit the road? I think they should, because I think there's going to be times where, especially in a World Cup, where they're not going to be the team that has the dominant crowd in a stadium. They need to figure out how to play on the road. They need to figure out how to play in hostile environments. They need to figure out how to play in not the best conditions. And whether that's weather, whether that's field quality, whether that's amenities, they need to figure out how to be uncomfortable and still persevere through that. So a lot of questions to be answered. It feels like with the way that U.S. soccer has been handling some of the schedule, that maybe we know some of this pretty quickly. And especially as we lead up to the Gold Cup, I'm sure they're going to want to figure out where they're going to go and how those logistics will work and give themselves some time to kind of put all that together. Not just the teams coming in, but also the men's national team as they go from city to city before they take on all of North America and the Caribbean in the Gold Cup this summer. Of course, the United States hosting that, with the final being in Houston. But as that comes, we will bring that to them. We will talk about it. And we'll discuss some of these teams that the United States men's national team will be playing. But that will do it for episode 146 of the USA Soccer Cast. Thank you so much for listening. Remember to follow us on Blue Sky, Twitter, and we are on YouTube as well. Find us on all of those platforms at USA Soccer Cast. Subscribe, rate, and review our episodes. It really helps and is greatly appreciated. Don't forget, we have affiliate programs with a ton of places to get you the gear you love and help you travel to see your favorite teams play or watch them from the comfort of your home. Head to our Linktree, linktree.com/USA Soccercast to learn more. Click the links to all of those sites and our stimulus store and support the show in the process. We'll talk to you again soon, y'all. Peace.